Well, this is Up. I'm David Gura, and this week another Republican has indicated he may run against Donald Trump in 2020. That is one Joe Walsh, a former one-term congressman from Illinois who is part of the Tea Party. Like him, another former Republican congressman, Mark Sanford, has expressed interest, but so far there is only one candidate who is officially running. That is Bill Weld, the former governor of Massachusetts, who has been a Libertarian candidate for vice president in the past. Former Massachusetts governor and Libertarian vice presidential candidate Bill Weld was in New Hampshire on Friday talking to voters about immigration. He was drawing a contrast between his policy position and the president's.
I think they have a lot of contributions to make, and I'm proud of the fact that the United States has always been a melting pot. I think our current president would not agree with that. He doesn't like the idea of a melting pot. He likes the idea of a much purer strain, which to me is un-American.
Well, joining me now is Governor Weld. Thank you very much for being here. And I want to ask you first if you're going to be paying attention to what's on ABC's This Week in about an hour's time. Joe Walsh is scheduled to be on that show, and I wonder what you make of him saying that he may declare candidacy to fight alongside you.
David, I can't wait. I think a clear contrast between a straight-thinking individual and Donald Trump can only be refreshing. I hope that Mark Sanford, my friend from South Carolina, also will join the race. He's taking a 30-day look-see at it, but I think that can only be good. The president, in my view, has not had a good month. You know, he's these new abortion statutes, anti-abortion statutes. He's basically siding with rapists against women, just the way in foreign policy he sides with murderers as opposed to with our allies. So just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it gets a little worse. And I think the president is getting confused, frankly.
Sir, I follow you on Twitter, and I noticed a change in tone this week. You used the hashtag 25th Amendment in one of these tweets, and I noticed you're calling into question, you're calling him a clear and present danger to our country, to the globe, and to himself. Is this a new tack in your campaign?
Well, you know, campaigns evolve and situations evolve, and I think the president is moving towards the Looney Tunes edge of his internal musings, and that's all we see. You know, his trade policy with China, first thoughts, second thoughts, third thoughts, fourth thoughts. That's no way to conduct diplomacy. And he seems to be listening to his inner demons and the fear and anger that he so obviously feels inside his own head. And the poor guy just had no preparation for the pressures of the job he now holds. So, you know, I would say almost with affection, if he weren't in the job that he is, that obviously he's struggling. But he is the president of the United States, and we got to take that seriously and stand up and point out the emperor doesn't have any new clothes. That's what I'm hoping that Walsh and Sanford are going to help me to do.
So your talk is, if I can paraphrase you here, you're seeing some strength in numbers here, that if this field gets bigger, if there is a robust debate that emerges between you and these other candidates, that is likely to attract attention to what you're trying to do here, that is to primary the president.
Well, yeah, not attracting attention just to me, attracting attention to what the president is doing, so we don't all laugh for the entertainment value without realizing how serious it is when the president runs these dictator trial balloons up, hoping that people will salute it. You know, this is our stable genius who's such a genius that he threatened to sue the University of Pennsylvania if either his grade scores or his aptitudes ever became public. I mean, it's a lie a minute.
Let's cast our gaze at one of those dictatorial trial balloons you just mentioned. That is the tweet that the president sent out earlier this week, hereby ordering American companies not to do business with China. You weighed in on that as well. Help us understand sort of how things changed this week. You've alluded to it a bit, but with this tweet in particular, with that hereby ordered, how did things change?
Sure, that's a dictatorial trial balloon. I get to order all American companies to do what to do just because do what they should just because I'm the president. But beyond that, we have the messianic trial balloon. I'm the Messiah. I'm the chosen one. I'm the king of Israel. I mean, like I say, it's getting worse. It's a slippery slope when you're as self-indulgent and narcissistic as the president is. And I think he's losing his moorings, which is why I say I think he needs to be removed from office. First choice, impeachment and removal by Congress. It's their duty at this point. Second choice, 25th Amendment. I guess second choice is just the 2020 election. But if need be, if he keeps careening around, 25th Amendment.
Governor, what do you say to those who look at your campaign, see you in Salem, New Hampshire, see you making your way around the Granite State, don't notice huge crowds forming, don't notice this gathering steam, perhaps as much steam as you'd like to see there, and wonder about the efficacy of what you're trying to do here?
No, it's getting better on the ground. Crowds are better. People are paying more attention. We had 7 events in New Hampshire yesterday, 6 the day before. The reaction is uniformly positive. And, you know, people up there are moderate. They're not extremists. And when I tell them I'm a New England Republican, I don't have to explain to them in New Hampshire, in Massachusetts, and Vermont what that means. So I have a good feeling about how things are going. And, you know, the polls, the president is 100% with all the state Republican parties. Of course he is. They're the Trump organizations. And my objective is to bring in more unaffiliated independent voters who can vote in those states, and even Democrats. I make the case to them that you Democrats, if you're not satisfied with Mr. Trump's performance in office, you can vote against him twice. Once for me in the primary and then for whoever you want in the general. And I'm getting traction with that argument.
Last question here just about the House you occupy. It seems as you're being evicted by the Republican Party. They're not welcoming your candidacy. I doubt they would welcome the candidacy of Mr. Walsh or Mr. Sanford as well. Why stay with it? Why not make an independent run? Why is this the lane that you choose to be in?
Well, the Republican Party was formed when the Whig Party split up and one went one way and the other went another way. And I think this may happen in 2020. The president's strategy, such as it is, it's an extreme strategy, is going to leave all the Republicans in swing and suburban districts out to dry in the House. And in the Senate, if no one in the Senate stands up and says we disagree with the president's racism, we want to disassociate ourselves from that. And I mean expressly. I don't mean a mumble. If they don't do that, they're all going to lose. I saw it happen in the Nixon year. I worked on the Nixon impeachment, and I saw all those brave men and women, the Republicans, go through the draining effort of defending Mr. Nixon all through the summer of 1974. Then the tapes came out proving that he was just lying about not knowing about the Watergate conspiracy, and they all lost. I think if the president is not challenged by his own party, you're going to see a Democratic Senate in 2020.
Bill Weld, thank you very much for the time. That's the former Massachusetts governor, current candidate for the Republican nomination for president. Thank you again.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.